So back during the mid 1990s, I had moved to, I had moved away from home to Topeka, Kansas. And for anybody in Topeka, Kansas listening to this, hey, shout out to you guys. Anyway, um, while I was there in Topeka, Kansas, I had heard about this place called Stull Church, where apparently, if a certain window or something appears on that church, bad things can happen. Well, I mean, I didn't really think anything of this, and didn't really give it too much mind, and had put it out of my mind. But anyway, I was in that area, and I had a buddy that actually lived not too far away from there. So I was just like, hey, let's go check it out. And at first, he had heard all the stories and everything because he was from the region, and he didn't want any part of it. And he was just like, no, no, no. So, after about 30, 40 minutes of me calling him a pussy and everything, he finally and reluctantly agreed to, go with me and go check it out. Well, here's the thing about Stull, all right, the church that you have to understand. And I don't know if it's still there. I think it's still there. I thought it was part of, like, the heritage for the area or whatever. But anyway, Stull Church is like this. It's like this brick masonry, cobblestone church that the original settlers built when they came through the area. So it's pretty old, and at this point in time, it had no roof. There was no roof. There was no windows, no doors, nothing. There were windows. There were the slots for the windows, but everything was long gone. It was just pretty much like the leaning ruin of the building. Okay. Now here's the other thing that you have to understand is that there are only 7 windows on this entire building. All right. Each side wall had 3 openings for windows. They were rather large windows. And then right above the door, there was another kind of like little mini window that was right above the door. All right. So there was only a total of 7 windows on the entire building. Well, my buddy and I, we had gone up the side hill up to the church. And back during this time, there were actually 2 fences. There was the fence immediately around the church, and then there was a fence around the grounds of the church. And there was a couple of reasons why these fences were there. One of which I'll get to here in just a little bit. But one of the other reasons is that it had kind of a long history of kids and teenagers and everything going in there and spray painting the place, vandalizing, knocking over the tombstones and stuff in the cemetery, because the cemetery actually held a lot of like the original graves of like some of the settlers. Some of these graves go back like 180 years or older or whatever, and some of the graves around there are even older than that they're not even marked anymore. There's no headstones or anything for it. Well, anyway, we had hopped the first fence, and we had gone through the cemetery and everything. Now this is the middle of the night, okay, and as we got closer up to the church, we started to notice that something was really odd about it. Okay, like I said, we had no light, just the kind of like moonlight and starlight. But anyway, we got through the grounds and everything, and when we got up there, we saw that there were windows. They were kind of like casting like this gloomy ass light, and it looked like the doors were there. It looked like the roof was there, but more importantly, okay, around the back of the church, there was an 8th window. All right. Now, there's not supposed to be 8 windows. Okay. Like I said, there's only 7 windows on this entire building. And from the inside, we could hear what sounded like a Sunday choir singing. This scared the hell out of us, because like I said, it looked like we couldn't see through the glass. Okay, it was kind of gloomy in there or whatever. Whatever light was going on, it was really low, really faint. Even at night, we still couldn't see through those windows. But the light coming from that 8th window on the rear of the church, where there's not supposed to be a window, it was lit up. I mean, it was bright. It was bright as hell. And like I said, when we got closer and we started to hear that singing coming from inside of there, we were gone. We booked the hell out of there. Well, when we left, we didn't say anything about this at first, and then I started to talk to a couple of other people that I knew about it. And apparently, part of the legend is that when that window appears, supposedly it's supposed to be on, like, certain nights, certain months, whatever. I don't know if it was random or whatever, but whenever that window appears, something bad was supposed to happen in the community. It doesn't target like anybody that sees it, you're going to die. It wasn't anything, specific like that. It just means that something bad in the community was going to happen. Okay. But the other reason why that church was fenced off was not just because it had a bad problem with, people vandalizing it, but ever since like the 1960s, 70s, and early 80s, Topeka kind of had a long history of Satanists and Satan worshipers. They just seemed to flock there. I mean, the first 3 digits of the zip code of the place is 666. It was like 66612, so that ought to tell you something right there, Well, anyway, yeah, they had a long history of this, and there were many times that kind of like the caretakers of the areas would come up to the church or the ruins of the church, and they would find the remains of like satanic rituals and stuff going on inside of there. They naturally, this being a religious community, and they didn't really talk about it, but those of you who, live in Topeka, Kansas, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, one of the other supposed rumors or legends about the place was that the original settler community or what have you that were the original congregation in this church, though they were openly Christian or would pronounce themselves as Christian, underlyingly, they weren't. They may have actually been the exact opposite of that, or something else entirely. It wasn't really talked about too much, and nobody really knew the entire story. But there were a lot of rumors about this building. All I know is that when my buddy and we got close to that place, we saw an 8th window that was lit up bright as hell. And the building had a roof when it usually doesn't have a roof. I mean, I had seen this place during the daytime from the highway. It has no roof, no doors, no windows, nothing. Okay, it's literally just the shell, the ruins of a church. But that night, it had a roof. The 3 windows on each side looked like they had glass on them. It looked like there were a set of doors on the front of it. The window above the door looked like it was lit up. And it sounded like there was a congregation in there singing. And on the very back of the building, where no window should be, there was one. And it was bright as hell. So, I don't know. I don't know what it meant. It was pretty freaky. So, anyway, that's just a little account of a place that I had been years ago by the name of Stull Church. Take it for what you will, guys. I just hope you guys liked this personal account of mine of something that happened to me years ago. Let me know down in the comment boards if you guys want to hear more of these. This will be like the 3rd one on my channel of an actual true account. So let me know if you guys want to hear more of these true accounts of things that have happened, or if you kind of want the more traditional, like fictionalized type stuff and stories, because I've got plenty of those too. But if you guys want more of the true accounts, I'll go ahead and I'll put up some more of those. And also, I've got some friends that things have happened to them as well, so I'll try to get them in here to kind of record their accounts as needed. So, anyway, I am Runding. Until next time, guys, contemplate this on the Tree of Woe. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.